Hey guys, I'm Josh from Layzee Acres. Thanks for tuning in. We're saving the world one trailer at a time. Today we're going to do a Jayco orientation video. The idea with these videos is just to give a overview orientation for the Jayco Jayflight line. It's not going to be floor plan specific, so certain buttons and valves and stuff like that are going to be different places on this Jayco than your Jayco. It's just to give you an overall understanding of how things work. The reason we're doing these videos, and our plan is to do one video once a year on each sub-brand. The reason we're doing these videos is that so the customers that have done an orientation in the past, they can look back at an orientation video and refresh their memory on how a certain component works. It's also that so that those customers who can't come for an orientation for whatever reason, or maybe the missus could come but the mister couldn't come, just so they get an orientation as well. And then the third reason is that customers who are maybe looking at getting into a Jayco Jayflight or looking at getting into a Transcend or something like that, they can tune in, get an idea of how it is to operate something like this, what it's like to maintain something like this. So that's what we're going to try to do. The negative on these videos is they're going to be boring, they're going to be long, there's going to be parts you want to skip over, you don't want to pay attention to. That's okay, I'm not offended. The other negative is they often make changes halfway through the year. So this video will be as accurate as it can be at the time of filming. Right on. So let's start on the outside and get work on orientation. Hey guys, we're going to do the orientation on the outside of this Jayco Jayflight. This particular Jayflight's a 28 BHS, but most of everything we're going to talk about is going to apply to all the floor plans. We understand it's not going to be exactly the same as the one you have, but let's get into this. Right up front here, we have our coupler, and this is built ready to go for a 2 5/16 ball. So that's the size of ball you should have in your weight distribution or your hitch. The Jayflight SLX 7 wide has a 2-inch ball, but the regular Jayflight, Jayco Jayflight, has a 2 5/16 ball. Now for hooking up your trailer, there's 4 things that make you legal. Basically, first thing you do, the ball comes in underneath, coupler goes down top of it, and then you lock this coupler in on top, okay? Then there's a pin, that's the first thing, a pin that goes through here and locks this lock in place. The next thing is your chains. So, these chains need to crisscross and hook up to the truck. Okay, the idea with that is the trailer comes off the truck, they're going to cradle on these chains. That's why they're crisscrossed. That's the second thing. The third thing is this breakaway cable. This breakaway cable has to hook up to a separate link on the truck, so like a separate quick link. And what happens here, if the trailer ever comes off the truck or vehicle, it's going to pull a pin back here and lock the trailer brakes up, so it doesn't follow you down the road. That's why you need to have a battery on your trailer legally while you're driving. So that's the third thing. Fourth thing is your 7-way connection. Okay, that's this guy right here. All Jayco Jayflights have brakes on them built in, so you need to have a brake controller on your truck or your vehicle. But this is going to plug into the back of the vehicle, and you can check your lights and make sure they're working. So 4 things: lights, chains, breakaway, and pin. Alright, moving around. Electric front jack, up and down, that's pretty obvious. That's to get the trailer on the ball itself. Every Jayco Jayflight, regular Jayflight, has a cover. So to get to the propane tanks, I just take them off just because it's easier. These are going to come full to you. Whatever tank this switch is pointing at is the tank it's drawing off of. If you're using the trailer, this tank goes empty, it's going to automatically start drawing off of this tank. But you know that this tank's empty because there's a red line that's going to show up here on this glass piece. When you see that red line, you're going to come here, flip this over, then you can take this tank off without shutting that one off. You can take this tank off, go get it filled, bring it back, and hook it back up. Then, when this tank goes empty, another red light's going to show up. It's going to automatically start drawing for this tank. You can come back here, flip the switch. Alright, then you can take that tank off and get it filled. And just back and forth like that. The idea is you should never run out of propane. They should just automatically fill it back back it over, and as long as you're monitoring this little line right here, you should know if you have propane or not. Now, this trailer is going to have a battery and box included with the purchase. Now, you have a you have a red wire and a black wire hooked up to the trailer, right? If you're not using the trailer, it's just sitting in storage somewhere, you need to disconnect your negative lead, okay? Because if you just leave it not hooked up or in the storage or something, you're going to come back to a dead battery because your radio, your propane detector, those kind of things are going to draw the battery down. If you're storing the trailer for the winter, like it's winter time, you're going to take the battery inside and store it inside the house, in the garage, not on a concrete floor. If you put it on the concrete floor, the battery's going to be no good. All right. Okay. There we go. So one battery is included with every purchase. You can always upgrade that to 2 batteries, 2 6s, that kind of thing. But that's pretty specific. Pass-through storage, that's nice and easy. Always lock both sides of the door. All your baggage doors need to be locked on both sides. Because you can see there's pressure on this side, but I haven't locked this side. And look, there's a little bit of give there. Over time, that could leak because the seal's not compressed. One cool thing about the Jayco Jayflights is that it's one key. So it's literally one key for here, your main door, your secondary door, it's all one key. That's a nice feature. A lot of times with travel trailers, you have like 6 different keys for each different baggage door, each different man door. So you have one key for all doors. One key. All right. We have 4 stabilizer jacks here. Some of these Jayflights will be electric jacks, some will be manual jacks. These are manual. Same principle applies. They're not for leveling, they're not for lifting the trailer, they are just for stabilizing. So you're going to back the trailer up onto your site. If you're low on one side, like side to side, if you're low on one side, you're going to pull the trailer ahead, put a piece of 2x6 or a couple pieces of 2x6 underneath the low side, drive up onto that wood, and now you're level side to side. And you're just going to put a level on the floor to check this. So once you're level side to side, you're going to turn the level the other way and level it front to back. Once it's level, side to side and front to back, and you level front to back with your front jack, once it's side to side, front to back, then you put your stabilizers down. Not before. They're just for stabilizing, not for leveling. You don't just pick up a corner of the trailer with these jacks. These are just for stabilizing. Alright. We have a main rack and pinion slide. Some of the slides on Jayco Jayflight will be rack and pinion, some will be Schwintek. The Schwintek slide, there's no manual override for it. The regular rack and pinion slide, there is a manual override. Here's your city water connection. So if you have water at the site, nice and easy. You just take the hose, it threads into here, turn on the water, and you have water at your taps. Whatever water pressure you have at this hose is pressure on the lines. Most customers will get what's called a pressure regulator to regulate the pressure down to below 60 psi. If you go to a park and it has 150 pounds of pressure and you hook up here, you're going to blow a line, you're going to blow a tap, something like that. So most people will have a water pressure regulator, something I would suggest. Here's an outside shower. I don't need to open that for you. It's just hot and cold. Shower head, wash, like a hose on there. The biggest problem with this is people forget to winterize it. On the topic of winterizing, I'm going to do a video specifically on just winterizing, but my honest opinion is pay someone to do it. It costs you 70, 80, 90, 100 bucks, I don't know, but it's worth it. You just do it once a year and you don't have to worry about it. Right here is your black water flush. We're going to come back to that in a second. Alright, down below is where our sewer is. Okay. Now, every floor plan is going to have different gate valve location. So this one, the black water valve is right here, and I know that because it says black water holding tank right there. The gray water valve is up here. Okay. Now some of these floor plans are going to have 2 gray waters. Okay. I bet you, yeah, on this one, the 28BH, there's another gray water valve up at the front there for your kitchen tank. So be mindful of that. Make sure you have 1 gray water or 2 gray waters. So look at that on your specific trailer. But the principle is the same. I know my fingers are all black. Anyways. If you have sewer at the site, you're going to have a hose attached right here into the ground, right into your sewer hookup. You can have the gray water open, so each gray water tank can be open. The water from the kitchen sink can run into the ground. The water from the bathtub can run to the ground. But it's important that you have your black water closed. Okay. The reason we have the black water closed is if you leave it open, the liquids are going to run out and the solids are going to build up on the bottom of the tank. That's not good. So you leave the black water closed, the liquids and the solids build up together. Once the black water tank is full, you're going to come out here, close your gray water, close your gray waters, and open your black water. It's going to flush it all at once, okay? That's how you handle that. You only have the gray water open or the black water open. You don't have them open at the same time. If you're at a site that doesn't have sewer, you're going to go to a dump station. You're going to pull the trailer over to the dump station, hook up your hose into the hole in the ground, dump your black water first, and then clear your hose with your gray water. Now this Jayflight has a black water flush. Ugh. And that's right here. So when you go to flush your tank, you're going to have your black water open. You're going to, like the valve open, you're going to hook up, take the hose off the city water connection, hook it up here to the black water, and turn the water on with the black water gate valve open. If the black water gate valve is closed, you're going to build up pressure in the tank, and it's going to be a problem. Okay, you can imagine what can happen. So it's key. When you're using the black water flush, you have the black water open. Run that for a minute or two, clean out the inside of the tank, shut this off, close your gate valves, away you go. It's important that you have the black water open when you're using this. And don't walk away from it, right? Don't just start talking to someone and forget that you have water on your black water. That can be another issue. Okay. Full-size spare. Jayflights have an option for 50 amp or 30 amp. This one just has a pull-out style 30 amp cord. This is nice and simple. If I plug this in to a 30 amp outlet at a site, I can use everything. If I plug this into a 15 amp outlet, which is what I have right now at the sales lot, I cannot run my AC or my electric water heater on 15 amps. I can run everything else, but I cannot run my AC or my electric water heater. Great. Right here is your water heater. For regular camping, for your regular customer, you're never touching this, okay? The only reason you'd ever come back here is if you're winterizing, and like I said, pay someone to do it. But if you're winterizing yourself, you take the plug out of the water heater right here. Okay. This drains the water heater and is the most important part of winterizing. But, like I said, if you're not winterizing the trailer, do not touch this. Don't touch this, don't touch that, don't touch it. Just leave it. Okay? This model has a rear roof ladder. Even the Jaycos that don't have a rear roof ladder, you still have to get up on the roof and check your seals every 90 days or 3 months. I'm going to do a roof maintenance video, and you can click on that one day and have a look at that. But you have to be up there checking your seals, checking your seams, and maintaining those things. You have to be also up there and sweeping off your roof. If debris on the roof, like a bunch of leaves or pine needles, and you close the slide, and the slide squeezes those pine needles in there, the slide's going to leak. Okay, so make sure you sweep that off before you close these things up. This Jayco Jayflight has a gas fitting at the back here, specifically for a barbecue. The barbecue is not included on this particular one, but that's what that little gas valve is for right there. Okay, all right. Nice work, cameraman. You're doing great. It must be so boring videotaping these orientations, so I appreciate you. All right. We have an outside kitchen. Not every Jayflight will have an outside kitchen. This one does. The sink drains into your tank. You don't got to worry about that. We have a 2-burner stovetop here with instructions taped in there. We would light that just like you'd light your stovetop burners. We'll get to that. The key here, though, is we have another quick connect right here. Okay. For the gas. So there's going to be a hose inside that goes from here to down here. Okay. This is just like an air fitting. Okay. You have to have, there's a valve here as well behind. You have to have the valve off, so against the line to hook up this valve. All right. If you have it on like that, it won't let you compress the sleeve. So have it off, hook up your hose, and you're good to go for your outside kitchen. For travel, leave this plug in there, protecting your gas line. And then our fridge is nice and easy, just electric fridge. I'm sure there's a switch in here or something. Yeah, just a temperature control, but that's pretty easy. All right, let's have a look at the tires. They are 16-inch tires, Goodyear Endurance. It says right on the side of the tire they're good for 80 psi, so have them at 80 psi. They're nitro-filled tires, so you shouldn't have to top these up that often. But if you do, just put air in them. You can always go to Canadian Tire, put nitrogen in there if you want, sure. But keep them at 80 psi. Your lug nuts need to be torqued down to 110 foot-pounds. You know, this when you get a brand new trailer, it hasn't gone down the road much, so you have to, you know, when it gets home, you should torque your lug nuts down. If you don't have a torque wrench, you should go out and get one. You should have one for your vehicles anyways, but torque those down. In behind here, this plastic cap comes out. There's a rubber cap in behind it. In behind that rubber cap is a grease nipple. You're going to grease your bearings at 6,000 miles. And what I mean by greasing your bearings is you put a shot of grease in at 6,000 miles. You don't just keep pumping, right? You put a shot of grease in at 6,000 miles. At 12,000 miles, you repack the bearings. You pay a garage to do that unless you're a mechanic. You know how to do that yourself. But you have to repack these bearings at 12,000 miles. So grease at 6,000, repack at 12,000. Great. I have an outside TV hookup here. This is meant for a cable outlet right here, or satellite. There's another spot on the other side. Well, I guess we didn't talk about it, sorry. But there's a spot to run cable and satellite in. It'll be a different location on every trailer, but it'll look something like this, but on the other side. Outside receptacle is attached to your GFI that's inside the trailer. Fridge vent, don't touch it. Furnace vent, don't touch it. We talked about the city water connection at the back. So that's if you have water at the site. If you don't have water at the site, you're going to fill up your tank right here, you know, before you leave home, as you enter the campground, something like that. Basically, you just stick the hose in. When the freshwater tank is full, it's going to splash back out at you. Pretty straightforward. We have another receptacle out here, same kind of thing. It's attached to the GFI inside the trailer. All right, let's. I'm just going to operate the awning from inside. I'll show you where the switch is in a second, but out it comes. Basically, I'm going to run this until the balance is pointing down at 90 degrees. Okay. So this is the balance I'm talking about right here. That should be pointing down at 90 degrees. That's how far your awning goes out. If you go further, it's actually going to start wrapping up backwards by itself. Doesn't really do any damage, but you'll have the fabric, the white stuff facing the outside, which doesn't look as good. All right. Nothing really to do here on a regular basis other than creating pitch. If you want to create pitch one side over the other, you just grab this handle, pull it down. Now the water is going to run off away from the door over this way, or you can pitch it the other way. When you go to bring the awning back up, though, you have to push this up and make sure this bar here is straight. These awnings are not meant for really rainy situations. If they're raining really hard, put it away. If it's windy, put it away. If a wind comes up, pulls the awning off the side of the trailer, that's not a warranty thing. You should have put your awning away. If a big torrential downpour comes down, bends the tube of your awning, that's not a warranty thing. That's a user error thing. So put your awnings away if it's really windy, or if it's windy at all, and if it's really raining. Great. Other things that are maintenance-wise on the outside, we talked about your outside, you checking your seals on the outside, like your roof seals. So take a look at that. We talked about winterizing. Pay someone to do it. The other thing that you can do yourself is lubricate items. So you should lubricate these door locks. All these locks with like a dry Teflon lubricant. You should lubricate all the pivot points on your stairs. You should lubricate your front coupler, make that nice and easy. I don't know if you noticed, I had a hard time pushing that coupler in and locked. You should lubricate your regular door locks. But the biggest thing is checking those roof seals every 90 days or so. The rest of it is pretty obvious. Great, guys. Let's look inside. Hey guys, we're inside this Jayco Jayflight. Like I said, this is a 28 BHS, but it should have all the same kind of interior components as the rest of the models. Let's start with the safety stuff. Right here you have a fire extinguisher. That's usually right beside the door in your model. Then we have a smoke alarm, and that is right here. This has a 9-volt battery in it, okay? If the battery goes dead or is getting low, it's going to start beeping once every 30 seconds. Pretty annoying, but that's not plumbed into anything else. It just has a 9-volt battery and that's it. Then, this will be a different location every trailer, but we have a propane and a carbon dioxide detector. This is plumbed right into the trailer, so in the trailer wiring. So if your battery on the front of the trailer is getting low, that's going to beep once every 30 seconds. It's also one of those things that slowly draws down your battery while the trailer's in storage or in the driveway not being plugged in. If you're ever cleaning with any kind of weird chemicals or something like that, or just even different chemicals, it sometimes can set that off as well. Then that would be an actual alarm, so then it'll be going nuts. So yeah, that's your propane detector and carbon monoxide. Propane sinks, right? So that's why it's down to the floor. Let's move over to our propane appliances. The first thing you always light is your stovetop. Before you try to light your fridge, before you try to light your furnace, before you try to light anything else, always light your stovetop first. So we turn it to light. I can hear the gas, and then I spark it. Boom, nice and easy. I know I have gas in the trailer. I know I have gas at the appliances. I can shut that off now. Now, the only thing you have to manually light is the oven, okay? And I didn't do this ahead of time, so I may be kicking myself here, because a lot of times this takes a while. But you just turn this control to pilot, and you hold it in, okay? Now, as we hold it in, we have to light it. It's about 2/3 of the way back on the right-hand side. Give me a second here to light it. Oh, there you go. Lit right away. Get down there, have a look at that. So I'm holding the button in, I bring my lighter, and I light it. About 2/3 of the way back on the right-hand side of the burner. Now, once it's lit, I hold this button for about 30 seconds, let it out, and then turn it to whatever temperature I want. I'm going to turn it to 400 degrees. Burner should come on. That is how you light your oven. That is the only thing you have to manually light in the trailer on this one. If you know you're going to use the oven a few times during the week, you can leave it on pilot. If you're only going to use it once, just turn it off. Great. I don't smoke, but this is just the lighter I have. Alright. Here is your fridge. The fridge is a Norcold 8 cubic foot fridge on the regular Jayflights. First thing you do, turn it on. That's the on button right there. Then there's a mode selection. So I'm just going to run through this. The first mode is A for auto. That means it's automatically going to go on hydro. And that's why it's on that little plug there. You see that right there? If I were to unplug the trailer, it would automatically flip over to gas. Automatically. So that's the mode you're most likely going to leave it in all the time. If for some reason you want to force it to go to gas, even though you're on hydro, you push mode one more time, and it's going to go to gas. That little teardrop button there, that's a gas symbol. That's going to force it to run on gas. I don't know why you do that, but if you want to force it to run on gas, you can do that. Otherwise, you're just going to push the mode button, leave it on auto, and away you go. Then you can control the temperature, 1 through 5 snowflakes for cold. Let you play around with that. Great. Just some random storage in here. The one thing I don't want to miss is this has a TV antenna on it. And that's that green light back there. I don't know if you can see that. Off, on. So with the green light on, that means the TV antenna is on. If the green light's off, the TV antenna is off. If you're trying to watch cable on the outside of the trailer, if you plugged in cable to the outside of the trailer and you're trying to watch it here in your TV, you cannot have the booster for the antenna on. So you have to have that off. If you want to watch TV from the antenna, then you have your booster on. Okay? The other thing in here is satellite. So if you run satellite in from the outside, you can plug that in right there. Have your receiver out into your TV. Bingo bango. Right here is just a DVD player. This is also how you control your speakers inside or out. Just give that a second. Sorry, that was loud. So I guess it's 1 for the inside and 3 for outside on these Jayflights. So that's the outside speakers right now. Great. You put a DVD in here, turn it to HDMI 1 on the TV. I'll let you play around with that, but it'll come out on your TV there. Great. Microwave's pretty self-explanatory. I don't need to worry about that. Right on. So here is our kind of control area. All right. So the bottom switch here says slide room, so that's your slide out. When you put that all the way out, it's going to make that clutch noise. That's normal, letting you know the slide is all the way out. Should make the opposite noise when it's all the way in. So if you bring this slide all the way in, it'll make that same clutch noise when it's there. We have an inside switch, outside switch for lights, in or out for your awning. We showed you how that works. You can check the levels of your tanks, your gray, your black water, your fresh water. The black water is going to lie to you. It's, you know, you've just drained your tank. You know the tank's empty, but it still reads 2/3 full. And that's just because there's literal debris or crap on the sensor. So the other tanks will read true, but the black water will be unreliable. Because we're plugged in, my battery's going to read full. But if I wasn't plugged in and I had a battery on, it would give me a true reading. Right on. Let's talk about the washroom here, right behind us. Not really much to say, other than always leave water in your toilet bowl. That keeps the stink. So just leave a little bit in there, about 2 inches or so. That keeps the stink down in the tank from coming up into the unit. There's no S-trap like you have on your household toilet, so you need to have a little bit of water in your toilet bowl, keeping the stink down. When you're traveling, though, you can't really do that because it's going to splash all over the place. So most people will leave their vent open while they travel. Okay. We've been trying to put max air covers on a lot of the units. So this one already has max air covers on it. So you can leave this vent open while you drive down the road. This is the GFI I was telling you about as well. So the outside receptacle is attached to this GFI. So if that receptacle is not working, it's because that GFI is kicked. Those are all kind of connected. Awesome. Right here is our thermostat. So this controls the AC and the furnace. Should be 3 modes here. So 4 modes, I guess. So that's off. The first mode is your fan. So that's just the little, fan thing there. You can, right now it's on auto. You can turn this to low, high, or auto. Auto means it's automatically going to come on with the AC. High or low just means it's running just the fan on the AC itself. This has nothing to do with the fan on the furnace, just the fan on the AC. So if I go to low right now, it'll go click, and then this should come on. Okay. So there's the low fan. I can go to auto or high or whatever. Now I'm going to leave this on auto. This should come off here. And when I go to AC, when I push mode, go to cool or AC, if I'm above 55 degrees in here, which I think I am, the AC comes on. Okay. And then I can control it. I don't have to keep this at 55 degrees. I can go up to 61 degrees or whatever, right? Push this mode button again. Should come the furnace. So our AC is going to shut off, and our furnace is going to come on. AC is going to shut off. Come on. There it is. Shut off. There's our furnace. Just took a few seconds there. Sorry about that. So on the outside of the trailer, you're going to hear the fan come on, and then you're going to hear click, 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 and then the roar of the flame from the furnace. After I push the mode button again and shut it off, the flame on the furnace will go out, but the fan will continue to blow, just to blow the excess heat, any propane that's left in the system, anything like that. So to refresh that, you have 3 modes: fan, cool, or furnace, and whatever you selected on within those modes is going to operate at the time. Cool. Right on. Couch, easy. Down here we have our breakers and our fuses. The furnace will shut off here in a second. Sorry if that's annoying. Your breakers are here on the left. Your fuses are on the right. Your breakers are all labeled. Your fuses are all labeled. That's easy. There is red light beside each fuse, so if the fuse is blown, that light should light up. These two 40 amp fuses here don't have labels and they don't have lights. So if you ever hook your battery up backwards on the trailer, you're going to blow those two 40 amp fuses. Or if you touch your positive lead to the frame of the trailer, it's also going to blow those 40 amp fuses. And then yeah, the other breakers, that's pretty easy. If a breaker's kicked, it looks like that. You just reset it, nice and easy. Cool. They'll also, if you're using like a lot of lights or whatever in the trailer and your battery's not hooked up, that fan in there is going to constantly run, just cooling down the actual converter. Just another TV hookup out here. That's easy. Underneath the bed. Oh, that's the black hose I was telling you about for hooking up the cooktop. It's just a little 3-foot hose or so with a quick disconnect, kind of like an air fitting, like we were talking about. All right. We had a outside TV hookup that you can use this bracket. So basically, this bracket screws onto a TV, and you can use that TV outside or inside. Just hooks on like so. Nice and easy there. Cool. Am I missing anything on the inside, cameraman? I don't think so. Great. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you like that orientation video, hit the like button. I know this is boring, I know it's tedious, but we're just trying to give everybody an idea of how things work on their specific brand of trailer. Subscribe. We're going to put out updates every day. If you just want to get some more sales videos, we have lots of those too on each individual trailer that we stock here. Thanks guys. Have a good day.